guys, it's Kales and I'm making a video. It's been a week and I'm going to talk to you about books I read in January. So yeah, I went on another graphic novel reading binge, which is also happening in February. So I managed to read 22 books in the month of January, which means I'm almost over halfway towards my goal of 52 books in the year, which I think I'm gonna have to lengthen. Since there's 22 books to get through, let's get started. The first book that I read in January, along with the first book that I read in 2017, was Replica by Lauren Oliver, and I really liked this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars because I thought it was a really interesting sci-fi. It centers around this girl, Lyra, and this other girl, Gemma, and how their lives intertwine into one story, and it has clones and running away and secret societies, and it's really interesting and I liked it a lot. Also, it tells their stories in 2 different perspectives. So if like the front cover is Lyra and if you flip it upside down, it becomes Gemma's story. And so that's really fascinating too, to get both perspectives. I listened to this book on audiobook and they had me listen to Lyra's story first, which is interesting. I'm anxious to see somebody who might have read Gemma's first and then Lyra's. It just would have been an interesting comparison. Then I read the first 5 volumes of the graphic novel series East of West, and holy crap, this series is violent and terrifying and so well drawn and so well told and just like, what? What? The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and death goes rogue to find his son. And you find out all these things and it's like such an interesting world about a different America and how it was an alternate history and just, like I think about it and I get so wound up because it's really, really good. Fascinating and crazy. I gave the series a 5 out of 5 stars. I think as it started to evolve, I gave it like 4 out of 5 stars, some of them, because I was just like, this isn't as interesting as it was the first time, and there's certain storylines I want to follow more than other ones. Then I read Why Not Me by Mindy Kaling, and I didn't like this book. I thought it was just a continuation of her first one that I read, which is Why Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me? And I didn't see the purpose of this one. Like, to me, I was just like, you just could have wrote a longer book. You didn't need to write 3 different books about the same topic. I didn't get it. I also don't watch Mindy Kaling's shows. Like, I've never seen The Office or The Mindy Project. I think I was at a disadvantage in that. Then I read this graphic novel I'd never heard of. It was recommended to me by my cousin's fiance, Zach, and it's called Mother Come Home. I don't know what to say about this graphic novel. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It is breathtaking, heartbreaking, terrifying, and so well told and well drawn, and just you don't even know what it's about. Yeah, I don't have a lot of words and I don't really want to give it away because then it like gives it away because it's so intricate and you just kind of need to pick it up and just read it and try to comprehend the interwoven story that this is. Yeah. Then I read the side story of the Princeless series called Raven, the Pirate Princess, and I just read the first one of this one because the library only had the first volume, which is okay. I'd be anxious to read more of it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars too because I just want to be Raven because I think she's amazing and badass and like just super cool, this idea of a women-run pirate ship. I love it. It's super cool. Going after revenge on her brothers and just being amazing like they are. So that's how that goes. I want to find more copies because I need to finish the series. Then I read A Madness SoDiscreet by Mindy McGinnis, which was very interesting. I really enjoyed this book. I have heard about Mindy McGinnis from Trina from Between Chapters, which at this rate on BookTube, who hasn't? And I really enjoyed this book. Not as much as In a Handful of Dust or Not a Drop to Drink, but it still had Mindy's grit and fearlessness to it and how she is able to construct a story that isn't all about romance, that is very different, centered around friendship and different kinds of love and relationships. It's about this woman named Grace who gets thrown into an insane asylum in Victorian era and how she uses her photographic memory to like escape and become the assistant to this guy who's studying a serial killer, all while being mate at his insane asylum. Is really interesting and really good, and she's like extracting her own revenge, and I just like the idea of examining madness in that time period and what it meant to be mentally ill and what it means to be friends. I really like this one. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars and it was it was very entertaining and really different, which I love Mindy McGinnis for her books that are different. Now let me pick up one of the actual physical copies of a book I finished, and that is The Fate of the Tearling. I finally finished this series, guys. This took a while, because I'd listened to the other two on audiobooks. It was really weird for me to sit down and read this one, and I was like, wait, who's that character? Because it's not spelled like how I would spell it after hearing it in my head. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars because I was really happy with how this series wrapped up. It is about Kelsey's arc and coming into her own and being her own woman, but I still hate that, like, the magic system is not explained. I still hate that it's like a time travel weird paradox thing that never gets explained. I just really hate that there weren't a lot of explanations, and there's not gonna be more in this series, so I'm very frustrated with, like, why didn't we get more explanation as to how this magic works? And so it makes it very hard for me to buy into it when I don't understand what's going on, when there's not like a baseline for how this happened. Like, there's this combination between the real world and magic. I just don't get it. I don't get it. But it's okay. I still love the characters. I love the conclusion. I really enjoyed reading it. I was very sucked into it, especially with all the storylines that she had created in the second book, and you were like, what? Why? There's so many things to follow. I really did enjoy it. I'm happy with it. I know a lot of people weren't, but I'm just more or less unhappy with the fact that I had no idea what was going on in terms of magic. I just kind of went with it, and it was annoying. Then I continued with the Princeless series, reading volume 4, which again, I want to finish and continue, but my library only has a certain amount of copies. I talked about the Princeless series a lot in my December wrap-up. I love this series. It's amazing. It was one of my favorite series I read in 2016. Then I read the book Love and First Sight by Josh Sinquest, who I really enjoy because he wrote the book We Should Hang Out Sometime. I was really anxious to see his first fiction work. It's a YA realistic fiction about this young boy who is blind, and he falls in love with this girl, but he has the opportunity to potentially have a surgery that would help his eyesight, and it's a very interesting dynamic read from a perspective that I never have before. It is not an own voices book. Josh Sinquest does have a disability of his own. He had cancer when he was a kid, and he only has one leg. However, this is not his disability. But he did a ton of research, which was really fascinating, and he explains a lot of that at the end of the book. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars just because I liked the concept, but the execution was not that great. The story was kind of lame and predictable, as YA realistic fictions tend to be, which is okay, but it was sweet and endearing, and it offered different perspectives, which I appreciated. Oh my gosh, then I picked up this hilarious book called Carry This Book by Abby Jacobson, and it's just a book of, like, her drawings and commentaries of what she thinks belong in people's pockets. Like, she picks, like, Forrest Gump or Oprah Winfrey and just draws what she thinks belong in their pockets, and she just comments on them. It's just hilarious. It's a fun coffee table book that I gave a 5 out of 5 stars because I just flipped through it and I thought it was hilarious. I wanted a copy of it so bad because it's just adorable and fun and something you don't normally think about. Like, what do you carry with you all the time? Like, when you empty out your purse or your pockets or your wallet, and what is with you? And she really examines that in a fun, entertaining way. Oh, this book. Oh my god. Okay, so I read A Monster Calls to kind of go with the idea that I was going to read the book before the movie. This book just ripped out my heart and stamped on it. Like, it was such a fascinating story of letting go and family and growing up and tragedy and metaphorically told and beautiful, and how things are not black and white and yet the book is told in black and white and gray. Oh my gosh, it was just brilliant and beautiful, and frick! I just hope the movie does it justice. I so want to see it, but right now it's Oscar season, so I gotta watch all those first, but I will watch A Monster Comes, because they better have done it justice. That's all I have to say. Then I read I Am Princess X, and I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. This book is about a young girl who, it sent me on a whirlwind, actually, because I thought it was about two best friends creating this comic together of I Am Princess X, and it is, and it starts out that way, but then you find out, like, super quick that one of the friends suddenly died in a tragic accident, and you're just like, wait, what? Like, within 10 pages of it, they create this comic together, and then one of them dies, and you're like, hold on. So then, the story continues to be this mystery. How Princess X one day shows up after all of the comics have been, like, disposed of. And she shows up, and it's this, like, online graphic novel thing that people don't know who the author is, and the one girl who survived, the one best friend, is like, I need to figure this out. So of course she gets herself, like, a techie friend, and they, like, go down this mystery of, is the friend really dead, and all this stuff. And I really liked it up until a certain point, and I won't say it because of spoilers, but then it just got lame. I was like, this is dumb and kind of unrealistic. So I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars because of the beginning and the concept I really enjoyed, but then how it was all tied up and how it ended up being was lame and not scary or thriller-like, which is what I think it was aiming to be. It was okay. You can skip it if you need to. Then I read this other book that I did not enjoy, and I feel like I'm gonna get so much flack for this, and it makes me so sad because I loved the Legend trilogy, but I read The Young Elites and I hated this book. I knew going in that it was a villain origin story, and that's fine, great, cool, awesome. No, like, I just didn't like it. I thought she was so wishy-washy, this character, and the magic system was weird, and it reminded me too much of Harry Potter in a weird way. It just wasn't unique, and it was boring, and I didn't like the world, and I thought I just didn't get the revolutionary nonsense, and I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars because I just didn't like it. I didn't care. I think I actually fell asleep towards the end of the audiobook. She was so wishy-washy. The whole time I was like, make a freaking decision! Make a decision! Anyway, I didn't like it very much, which makes me sad, but that's okay. Then I read the graphic novel series Rat Queens, which was incredible, 4 out of 5 stars. I want to be a rat queen so bad! They're so cool! It's like these group of adventurers all have different powers and different friendships, and it's so much about friendship, and it makes me happy, and they're just badass and can fight all these guys and yet get into trouble in their own ways. The third one was kind of weird, and I feel very left on a cliffhanger because I only read the first 3 volumes, and I'm like, what happened? How did this all get so destroyed so quickly? But anyway, you gotta read it. It's fun. It's a great graphic novel. I just want to be a rat queen so bad. Then I read the other physical copy that I have of a book, and that is The Revised Fundamentals of Caregiving by Jonathan Evison, and let me tell you this, the movie was better. I first heard about this because I watched the movie on Netflix with Paul Rudd and Selena Gomez, and the movie was better. Guys, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, which really, as I keep thinking about it, should have been a 2 out of 5 stars. The narrator was whiny. It was too crude. The movie at least cut back on some of the crudeness, and it took forever to get to the road trip. Okay, this book centers around this gentleman whose life is basically ruined. His wife is trying to get a divorce with him. You don't know what happened to his kids, and he gets his caregiving license and helps this young boy out. It advertises it as like a road trip novel, and it is, but it takes like a good third of the way to get to the road trip, whereas in the movie it just like starts, and that's so much better and focuses on that. And it's just watch the movie, don't read the book, don't bother. Nah. Finally, the last book of like the 22 books I read was Blankets by Craig Thompson, and oh my god, this book was beautiful. Guys, it was beautiful. Just thinking about it makes my heart melt. It's a story of first love and of faith versus religion and coming to terms with yourself and what you want and just life in general, and it's beautiful and well written, and it's like friggin' thick as hell. But damn it, it's worth it. Oh god, I think about it, I just get so sentimental, and I'm not a sentimentalist at all. Oh, it's good. Just, go get it. It's worth your time. I read a lot more than just these 2 books in the month of January, but I don't physically have them because I work at a library. Even though my goal is to read all the books I own, I'm working on it. Anyway. Yes, so if you have any comments on some of the books that I read, leave them down in the comments below. Until next time, guys. Bye. I knew going in it was a villain. The first book that I read in the month of January and for the whole year of 2017 was Replica. That's not a word. Basically, the log line of this is 4 men. I can't say words. Basically, the log line of this is the 4 men of... Why can't I say this?